Dabo Swinney here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Coach?
I'm great, thank you. Appreciate that.
What'd you think about Rex wearing the helmet at his press conference?
Nothing surprises me with Rex. He is just, however you perceive him, that's how he is. He is just as real a guy and has fun. He's one of those guys that I think just truly enjoys what he does. And I'll tell you that we don't have a more passionate parent than Rex Ryan. That's for sure. He is. When he travels, he wears all orange, and I tell you, Seth is a heck of a little player. He's our starting holder. He's been holding in NFL camps, I think, since he was about 4. So he is an expert at that. That's for sure. But he's actually a pretty good little wideout, too. Oh. He can run. He's fast. He got his mama's genes, I think. He's a good little player. He's tough. He's just a sophomore, but we love old Seth. He's one of those coaches' kids that you just love to have on your team and be around every day.
Well, and it's interesting. Do you have the normal coach-parent relationship with Rex, or do you sometimes just talk X's and O's in that regard?
Yeah, both. It's both. He really is. It's interesting how Seth got here, and I just a quick background.
Sure.
I didn't know Rex Ryan from Adam, and he came in for one of our pro days. We have a pro day every spring, and he came in for a pro day a few years, I guess about 3 years ago, and just like I do with everybody, I meet with the guys and kind of talk about our players and stuff, and he kind of searched me out at the end of the pro day and kind of caught me off guard, and he just said, "Hey, look, I got a son," and he said he's going to be a walk-on, but I just want him to be at a good place. And he goes, "Coach, I'm going to tell you," he said, and he had never been to Clemson. He said, I've been to a lot of places. He goes, but this place is really. He said, this is the kind of place that I would love for my son to be at. And he said, would you, if I brought him down, he said, could you let me give a tour or something? And I said, heck yeah. And so anyway, sure enough, I forgot about it. And then like a year later, I get a call from Rex Ryan, and he's reminding me of that conversation, and he wants to come in January. And so they all came in, and Seth decided this is where he wanted to go. And ever since then, so he's been a great parent, and we have those normal parent, coach conversations. But he'll come to practice, and obviously you got one of the best coaches out there in the business, and so it's been fun. He has spoken at our clinics. He comes to all of our spring events and things like that. So yeah, we have a lot of fun, but it's unusual because not every parent has sat in this seat and really understands, the dynamics of being a head coach.
Yeah.
And, so that's a little different, but something I really enjoy.
Dabo Swinney, Clemson head coach, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. And it's interesting. So he's a type of parent that is used to being in a seat like yours. Yep. And you're a coach that's used to being in a seat like his son as a walk-on. I mean, you walked on at Alabama as well. Yep. And so you've got that part of your experience all together. I just find that fascinating that you've gone from walk-on to the position that you're in right now with a stop in real estate in between, Coach.
Well, yeah, you're being really kind because I was more of a crawl-on. I didn't even, you have like walk-on and then you have the level below, and that's a crawl-on. Right. I literally crawled on the field at Alabama because that was my dream and what I wanted to do. And, I didn't want to go play at a smaller school. I thought I was good enough. I grew up in a small town in Pelham, Alabama, and I was the big shot in that little town, and I thought I was good enough. And, so I wanted to give the University of Alabama a shot, and so, I got student loans and Pell Grants, and I went to Tuscaloosa when I was 18, and I had no idea what was in store for me. I went there when I was 18, and I left when I was 31. And I went as literally a crawl-on, and then I became a walk-on, and then I became a scholarship player and lettered 3 years and played on a national championship team, and just incredible experiences and relationships. Got my undergrad, got my MBA, and next thing I know, Coach Stallings is talking me into being a grad assistant, and then he hires me full-time at 26 years old, and I've just been very blessed. And then I got out of I coached at Alabama. I played for 5 and coached for 8, and then we all got fired. The head coach got fired, and that pretty much everybody else goes with him. And so I was a young guy. I was 31, and I got into real estate development for 2 seasons. The 01 and 02 season, I was, traveling around the country, doing different things with building shopping centers. And that was a great experience, and I became very successful at that, which really I think made me a better coach. And then Tommy Bowden called me in the spring of 03 and asked me if I was interested in getting back in coaching. I said, heck yeah. So packed up, never lived anywhere other than Alabama for 33 years. And my wife and I, we loaded up and moved to Clemson, South Carolina, and to work for Coach Tommy Bowden, who was my first position coach at the University of Alabama. And it's been, this is my 13th year here now. I was 5.5 years as an assistant, and assistant head coach and all that stuff. And then halfway through the 08 season became an interim, and then fortunate enough to get the job. And now this is my 7th full season as the head coach.
And the number of players you've churned out before we get to your current team, Dabo Swinney, Clemson head coach here on the Rich Eisen Show, that you have sent from your position of receivers coach. Many people are going to use them in their fantasy leagues this very weekend. And in the reality league on Monday Night Football, the aforementioned Rex Ryan is going to use Sammy Watkins, hopefully in his mind, to beat the New England Patriots. You've got DeAndre Hopkins. What has been your, I guess, ingredient for success to take these talented young kids and send them to the next level in that regard?
Well, I'm passionate about that position. I mean, I'm the head coach, and my background is offense, and always has been. But I've always made my living coaching wideouts and coaching tight ends. I've had some great tight ends along the way too. I had some great receivers at Alabama. I had a couple great tight ends at Alabama that played a long time in the NFL as well. And then when I came to Clemson, 13 years in a row now, we've had an all-conference receiver in the ACC every year since I've been here. And I go, and one of the things that I love to do when I go and speak at clinics, I like to talk about wideout play. I like to talk about the development and the technique, and I think it's the worst coach position in the NFL. I think it's the worst coach. I think sometimes people just throw a guy out there and say, "Hey, go coach these guys," and it's a very detailed, technical position. And if you look at our background here. Yeah, we've had guys like Sammy Watkins where, you get them out of the box and it's no assembly required, and boom, you just don't screw them up, But the thing is, we've taken guys like Sammy Watkins who came here with all this talent, and we've made them better, and they've left here as the 4th pick in the draft. But then we've taken guys like Nuke Hopkins, who was a basketball player. Not highly recruited, very raw, 180-pound kid when he got here. And, he leaves here 3 years later as a first-round draft pick. And then we've taken guys like Jerron Brown, who just got the game ball given to him by Bruce Arians in the locker room after the Cardinals game the other night, who nobody talks about. And he's an undrafted free agent who's tearing it up. This is his 3rd year in the NFL with the Cardinals and fixing to get a big contract. And then a kid like Adam Humphries, who was a 2-star recruit. Nobody knows who he is. I promise you don't know who he is.
I plead guilty.
5 catches for the Bucks last week as an undrafted free agent. The kid, in fact, he didn't even get a free agent. He had to try out with the Bucks, and then he started his first game on opening day for the Bucks on the 53-man roster. So we've had everything across the board and in between from a development standpoint at that position. And so, I take great pride in being a teacher. And Jeff Scott, my receiver coach, he was my GA, and when I got this job, we're not going to change what we do. And man, Jeff has done a phenomenal job. And Martavis Bryant with the Steelers.
Yeah.
So we've had a little bit of everything from a development standpoint, and we got more to come. So there's one thing I know. We know what we're doing. I may screw up a defensive lineman or something, but I ain't gonna screw up a wideout. If he'll buy in and be a coachable guy, and you give me a guy that's got work ethic and talent, but then he'll buy into the technique and the technical part of the position. and then he's going to be a really good player because we're going to always feature receivers in what we do.
Let's talk about your current team. I'm on the phone with Dabo Swinney for a couple more minutes here at the Clemson head coach on the Rich Eisen show. You guys are so close for playing what you want to play for. How do you keep these kids' heads on straight week to week, Coach?
It's just part of what we do, you know. I mean, you just try to, our job is to motivate and keep them dialed in. So there's a lot of ways that we go about doing that. But, you know, we embrace it. I mean, we have a mentality here of, you know, every week is a championship game, and we put everything in each and every game. And, I mean, I think we've won 20 out of our last 21 games around here. So these guys, there's a culture here that, you know, hey, we're gonna put our best foot forward each and every week because we really want to play to a standard. We don't want to be a program that plays to an opponent or a kickoff time or what color uniform we're wearing or what the weather is that day. You know, we want to be incredibly consistent, and we have been. You know, we're one of, you know, 2 or 3 schools that have had 5, 10+ win seasons, and that comes from that type of culture and mentality. So we just look at every week as the biggest game of the year, and sometimes people don't like to hear that, but they're not in the arena, and that's the way it has to be. If we're going to play, man, let's put our best foot forward each and every week and understand the bigger picture that how we play is all that matters. It's not who, where, when, what. It's how we play the game, and how we play is a direct reflection of how we prepare, how we think. And so that's what we concentrate on in our program all the time. That's all we talk about. And so it's really doesn't matter who the opponent is. We're going to show up and we're going to compete. And if we get beat, hey, it's not because we were looking ahead or whatever these theories are. It's because maybe they just beat us. Mm-hmm. You know, or we're human and maybe we had a bad day. I don't know. Or the ball's not round and it hit off somebody's head and landed in somebody's arms for a touchdown. I don't know. But that's what we do. But at this point, we're sitting here. We got 16 days left before we have an opportunity to punch a ticket to the college football playoff. Well, guess what? The only way we're going to get where we want to be is we got to have a great day today because, you know, who we are in 16 days is a reflection of what we do today. And so just try to have the best Team Thursday practice that we've had all year and stay dialed in on the things that matter, keep our life simple, but also have some fun with it, you know? I mean, enjoy it. Smell the roses along the way, and that's what we try to do.
So with Wake Forest this week, do you have like a long snapper named Tim Duncan you can make a captain? Because your kids would know who he is.
I do not, but...
kids would know who he is.
I do, absolutely. I know who Tim Duncan is.
No, your kids would. I couldn't believe that Jim Brown story.
Isn't that amazing? Crazy. Crazy.
You must have looked at these kids. Did you give them a lesson on who Jim Brown was after that moment, or show them a video or something like that, or just?
Absolutely, I did, and I pointed when we went to our walkthrough up there. I pointed out at his picture, and it said, greatest player of all time. I said, that's what there he is, right there, boys. They
what a story.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe
was funny, but that was something I've been waiting to do all year long. I was like, all right, I'm going to name Jim Brown the captain for the Syracuse game. And so we had a good time with that. And the best part about our Jim Brown is nobody knows who he is until I told him who he is, because he's our snapper.
Yes.
And, if they know who your snapper is, it's probably not a good thing.
Hey, we know who your holder is. We might as well know who your snapper is, Coach, right?
We got the most famous kicking battery ever.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Good luck the rest of the way. I'd love to chat with you again, okay?
All right, man. Take care.
This is fun. Thank you. There's Dabo Swinney, Clemson head coach at Clemson FB.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.